All right, good morning, traders. It's May 18th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That's the day trading division of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. Before I get started, got a few announcements. And the first announcement is, got one announcement, as a matter of fact, e-learning, all right, in the combo room. And that's go to your login page for your BYOB Trading Room. Right next to the login page for the BYOB Trading Room is the combo room. You log in there, and you should be able to get into the combo room. Let me see if I can get in there and show you that right now. Okay, the topics are going to be support and resistance, seeing and using those levels. You're going to get about an hour presentation from Doug, about an hour presentation from me, and about an hour presentation from Rick. And that's going to be on this topic. That's going to be Thursday, May 21st. Starts off at noon. If you don't see me here in the room, it's because I'm over there in the combo room, and I will probably not be broadcasting in the room during that time so that everybody joins us over there in the combo room. Hey, good morning, Gilbert. All right, let's go take a look and see if I can find that for you without getting lost here. I got way too many tabs open. All right, let's see right here. Okay, so you go to your Hit and Run Candlesticks login website. All right, right next to the BYOB Trading Room where you would log in there. You would log into the combo room. Okay, those are probably all going to be recorded. All right, so if you want to look for them, you're going to find them under e-learning replays right here. Okay, actually under resources, and then go to e-learning replay, and you'll see last time's video for Rick's 1 hour, and there's one for my 1 hour, and then there's one from Doug's 1 hour, and then it starts again. And the topic on that day was trend, momentum, and volatility. There's Rick's 1 hour, there's my 1 hour, and then there's Doug's 1 hour. Well, on this page, okay, there's about 10 videos per page, and we have about 36 pages, so that's 360 videos right there. So if you're ever looking for learning content, there's plenty of it out there, and this is each one of us taking a different take on selecting universes or trend, momentum, and volatility. Okay, that's each one of us has a different way that we use it from the way that we trade. Okay, so again, 360 videos just on this page, and if that's not enough for you, we've got even more right through here. Got 10. We got 10 on a page right here. And I think there's 20 pages. Yeah, so there's another 200 videos on top of that. So you can see there's plenty of learning material out there if you're new and you've never been here. If you're new and you're a trial member, you are invited to the combo room and you are included, okay? If you're new and you're a trial member, all of this is available to you in your trial, okay? So I just want you to know that. If you're a trial member and you're new here, all right, please get with me. I'd like to spend 30 minutes walking around, getting to know you, and walking around the different websites between the Hit and Run Candlesticks website and the trading room, so that I can point out all of the learning material, because I want you to succeed, all right? Because it's not all in one spot. It's kind of scattered throughout the two different pages here. So it's kind of scattered from in the room here and in the website over there. So let me move this out of the way. All right, so for this morning, all right, before anything else happens, I'm looking at the pre-market. I'm going to get into the monologue from Friday, all right? I'm looking at an uptrend over the pre-market high, which happens to be 739.30 at this point, okay? Up to take it out to Friday's VWAP, and then up to the pre-market call wall, which is currently 742. And then I plan to trade a 10-minute downtrend down to the put wall, which is 735. And I'm going to review that in just a second here. Let's see what else I got. Okay, I'll get to that in just a minute, but I just wanted you to know that's my plan. I probably will change by the time this video is over, and we'll go back and review it just to make sure. Okay, so good morning, traders. My SPY pivot this morning, 740.90. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. SPY FNGU QQQ on Friday made lower lows and lower highs, closed inside bullish traps, and over there rising 17 EMAs. IWM, that's supposed to be Diamond Dow, okay? That's not supposed to include IWM. Diamond Dow made a lower low and a lower high, closed under a bullish trap, but over the rising 17. And here it is. IWM made a lower low and a lower high, closed under a bearish cross and under the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 10-minute downtrend and a 2-hour downtrend. Gold made a lower low and a lower high, closed under a bearish cross under the flat 17. Silver, same thing. Lower low, lower high, closed under a bearish cross under the rising 17. USO made a higher high, higher low, closed over a bullish trap over the rising 17. UNG, higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap and over the flat 17. US dollar index still in a daily, started a new daily uptrend and closed near the 99.27 area. SPYMEX pain should be 743. My website was not working right this morning, so we'll go back and try to find the true numbers for that. The call rate, put to call ratio was 1.4 puts for each call that expires today. That's mainly focused on those 0 DTE options that expire at 4:15. Remember, index options expire at 4:15. Security options expire at 4. If this is your first time seeing this page, this is like a watch list, okay? So this is, all of these are in bullish daily uptrends. All of these are in bullish daily downtrends. These are up over the 17 EMA. These are down under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star, they're building out a bull flag, or they were building out a bull flag. I call it a launch pad from which to launch higher. If they got a little dash, it means they already did the breakout. Okay, if they got a little star over here, they're building out a platform from which to dive lower. And you can see SUZ got a little dash, so that means it already started the breakdown from the bear flag that it was in, or the platform that it was building. Okay, so these are bearish and under the 17, bullish and over the 17 EMA. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Move this out of the way. Let's just take a peek at the call wall. Okay, currently in the pre-market, now let me just say, this changes, okay? A lot of times this changes. Even the regime can change, all right? Currently, the put wall is 735. Currently, the call wall is 742, okay? Now, if we're in a negative gamma regime, which you can see net GEX is minus 1.3 billion. If we're in a net negative gamma regime and price happens to start meandering its way over to the plus side, or to the call wall will typically act as a trampoline. In other words, once price gets there, it will reverse back into the other direction and head back towards the strike with the biggest gamma exposure. As you can see, the call wall, the put wall, and the strike with the biggest gamma exposure, which is also called absolute GEX, all right, is right here at 735. So if we're in a negative, if we happen to meander up here, we'll look for price to kind of bounce off of there. I may even trade it with and reverse right on 742 area, 742. We'll see, all right? Sometimes these change when the market opens, okay? So if it gets up there, it probably will reverse and start heading back down towards wherever the biggest strike is for the negative GEX, gamma exposure. All right, so I just want to let you know that that's a possibility to play out today. Now, they could overrun it. I don't think that they will, but they may. They may overrun the call wall and continue going higher and, flip the gamma from negative gamma regime into a positive gamma regime. We'll see what happens, okay? But I just want to point that out that typically if you're in a negative and you start heading back towards the call wall, all right, the call wall will act as a trampoline and bounce price off of it, and it should, most of the time it reverses back and it starts heading back towards the strike with the biggest gamma exposure, which happens to be right now 735. Okay, so I want to take care of that right now. I wanted to point that out. All right. In the pre-market, actually, we'll take a look at yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we got the 3 EMA and the sticks, the candlesticks, plotting underneath the falling 8 EMA. So we have ourselves a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close yesterday. Okay, on the 2-hour chart, we've got the candlesticks and the 3 EMA plotting underneath a falling 8 EMA. So we have a 2-hour downtrend. We've got daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. So we've got 2-hour downtrend coming into the close Friday. Okay, now on the daily chart, it's this red candle right here. Got a lower high and a lower low from the previous day. All right, lower high, lower low. And we closed inside of a bullish trap because the 3 is over the 8. We closed inside the bullish trap and over the rising 17, which happens to be these green dots. Okay, so the green dots are the 17 EMA. The white line is the 8 EMA. And the 3 EMA is the yellow line. Okay, so we closed inside the bullish trap, okay, and over the rising 17, okay? So you can see a few days ago we made a new all-time high, so on the daily chart. So it's very unlikely that the weekly is in a downtrend or the monthly is in a downtrend, but we'll look at it. Okay, obviously weekly still in an uptrend, bullish and still in an uptrend. Monthly chart still bullish, still in an uptrend. Okay, so this is the origin of the move. So here's where the quad lines start, and then they go up to the top. This is the origin of that move. All right, so you can see we're up in here in quadrant 4. That means we're bullish, and we have not made any lower lows. So we are still in an uptrend on the daily chart, okay? Again, same thing goes for the weekly. Same thing goes for the monthly. Okay, so the game plan this morning, one of the game plans, okay, on the 15-minute, we'll push into this. Got a SPY pivot at 740.90. All right, I've got green erases red. All right, so see while the bears take it from this high down to this double bottom low. Okay, if they happen to erase, if the bulls happen to erase everything that the bears did all the way down to this double bottom low up over this high, that will be my bullish green erases red entry right over that high. Okay, so that would be the green erases red entry over 749.55. Okay, now you can see the bears. If the bears erase everything that the bulls just did, in other words, the bulls rallied price from this low up to this high, and the bears erase that, all right, that will be underneath this double bottom here. That will be my bearish red erases green entry underneath. Okay, my pivot is where I can see price waffle back and forth, comes back to this number often during the day. That would be Friday, and that makes that my pivot. So I can see price go over it, under it, over it, under it, and keep coming back to that number. That's the way the market tells me that that's an important number. So my pivot is 740.90. Okay, so red erases green underneath 738.50. Okay, that was in the pre-market from yesterday. In other words, if we broke those lows and we got underneath that, we're already underneath these lows right now, so we already have a red erases green entry because we're below the lows that were made from yesterday. So if we get below these lows right here, that will be my red erases green entry down there. Now this was written before any of the pre-market was on there. Okay, so that's for SPY. Let's go to QQQ. And let's look at the 10-minute chart. Let's look at it on a clean one. Okay, so yesterday you can see the sticks in the 3 EMA. All right, got a 10-minute downtrend right here. Okay, you got the sticks in the 3 plotting underneath the falling 8. That's the white line. So we got daylight between the 3 and the 8. So we left off yesterday with a 10-minute downtrend. Okay, that was on the QQQ. We're on the QQQ now. Okay, so now on the 2-hour chart, okay, you can see we've got the sticks in the 3 plotting underneath the 8 EMA over here. We've got daylight between the two of them. So 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on Friday on the QQQ, on the daily chart. Okay, it's going to be this red candle right here. It's a lower high and a lower low from the previous candle. Okay, and we closed inside a bullish trap. Okay, because this yellow line is up on top of the white one. Inside a bullish trap over the rising 17 right there. Okay, see how the 17 rises? Okay, 7 over the rising 17. Okay, we're up at the top of quadrant 4, or in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's going to be bullish. We have not made any lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend right there. Okay, so that's QQQ. All right, let's go take a look at a few others before we take off. Let's take a look at, QQQ has a game plan as well. Okay, we'll visit that. Okay, so my green erases red entry, all right, is up over. That would be Friday's high. Okay, so everything that the bears did yesterday and overnight and all this weekend, okay, if the bulls undo everything that the bears did and take out that high, okay, that would be my green erases red entry. If the bulls get below these lows down here, the bears, if the bears get below these lows down here, okay, in other words, I can see price rally back here, I can see price rally back there. If the bears undo everything that the bulls did, all right, that would be my red erases green entry right down there. Okay, at 740, at 704.73. Okay, so we'll see how that works out this morning. All right, let's go over and take a look at FNGU. And let's look at that on the daily chart. Okay, so here's FNGU. Okay, here's the pullback low from the rally high that we were in. Okay, you can see we're up here. It'd be the red candle right there. Okay, you can see we closed in the upper third of the quad lines, so we're bullish. All right, so we're bullish. We made a lower high, a lower low. We closed inside a bullish trap or just under. Looks like just under a bullish trap, but over the rising 17 EMA, that's the green dots, and over, see the pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, so there's FNGU, so that's still bullish. They haven't made any lower lows and in an uptrend, okay? They just had one red day, okay? So doesn't mean the market's falling apart, just one red day. Okay, so that's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, so diamond down makes, it's going to be the red candle, lower high, lower low. We close under a bearish cross. All right, but we close over the rising 17. Okay, we're in the top, we're in the bottom of quadrant 4. So we're bullish and still in an uptrend. We have not made any lower lows. Okay, no lower lows yet. Okay, bullish and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM is going to be the red candle for Friday. Lower high, lower low, closed underneath. Bearish cross, closed underneath the rising 17. Closed in the bottom of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish and still in an uptrend till we take something out that closed below the 17. So bullish, still in an uptrend on IWM daily chart. Okay, so bullish on everything is still bullish and still in uptrends, all right? Some of it closing under the 17 EMA, a lot of it closing over the 17 EMA. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. All right, it'd be the red candle here for silver. All right, that's obviously a lower low. Boy, they fell out of bed. Lower low, lower high, closed under bullish trap or closed under bearish cross underneath the 17 EMA. And they're in an uptrend, all right, up here. But they're just neutral because they're not in the upper third. And they didn't make a lower low. That would be this low around here. Okay, so they're still neutral and in an uptrend for silver. Okay, let me pan out and show you. Okay, so we closed right here. This is quadrant 3. That's quadrant 4. Okay, so we didn't close in the upper third. We closed in the middle of quadrant 3. All right, so that's neutral in there. This is neutral. Lower third is bearish. Upper third is bullish. Okay, in between is just neutral. So we're neutral, all right, and because we didn't make any lower lows, all right, we didn't make a lower low below the low that pokes through the 17, so there's a low right there. So once we take out this low, or this low right here, okay, we'd have a downtrend. But currently, they haven't made any lower lows, so they're, even when they fell out of bed, they're still in this uptrend right there. So that's silver. Let's take a look at gold. All right, gold, lower high, lower low. Now, they were never in an uptrend, okay, because they failed to make a higher high. Silver did, gold did not. Gold, a little bit different from silver, is still in the upper third, so they're still bullish. Okay, they made a lower low and a lower high. They closed underneath a bearish trap. They closed underneath the flat 17. They did close in the upper third, so they're bullish there. But unfortunately, they still have not made any higher highs, so they remain in a downtrend. That's gold. Okay, let's take a look at USO. So that's bullish and in a downtrend on gold. Okay, so for USO, it's going to be this green candle right here. Higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap, closed over the rising 17 EMA. Now pan way out. Okay, you can see this would be 1, 2, 3, top of quadrant 4. Okay, obviously in the upper third. That's going to be bullish. They have not made any lower lows and in an uptrend. Okay, I just want to point out that this is an 11-year high right here. Okay, and today's price action is challenging that 11-year high. All right, you want to see where that plots out. Okay, so that's an 11-year high. So the last time we were at those highs, okay, was back here in, okay, 2015. Okay, see that? See, that's the first candle I come to. 2015. Okay, so we're at 11-year high, new 11-year highs right up here. Okay, on USO. So obviously that's bullish and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at UNG. And UNG puts in, it's going to be this green candle here. Higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA right there. Okay, let's pan out so you can see the full picture here. Okay, so this is quadrant 4, 3, 2, and 1. This is a 14-month high anchored VWAP. All right, and you can see how they struggled to close candles and even hold the higher ground over it. Okay, so they are down here. See the struggle? The struggle is real. They're bearish, okay? They're down here in quadrant 1, so that's going to be bearish, all right, in the lower third, bullish in the upper third. So they're bearish, all right, but they're in an uptrend because there's a high over the 17. See that candle that peaks up over the 17, the last one? They've made a higher high, so they're in an uptrend, but they are bearish. They closed under the 14-year high anchored VWAP, all right? And you can see the 14-month high anchored VWAP, okay? And in an uptrend. So they're bearish and in an uptrend right there. They're still under this 14-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, so let's take a look at technicals, T2101. All right, so market moving down yesterday. We got an increase in participation. This would be the absolute breadth, all right, T2101. And of course, T2101 measures participation. And you can see we got an increase in participation on the pullback. Notice as we make new highs, we get a decrease in participation or breadth, market breadth, okay? So you can see all those highs that we made recently were on very thin volume or very thin market participation, which makes them very fragile, all right? And we didn't put in any foundation or any levels to stop at, okay? So, I mean, we could come tumbling all the way back down. So there's T2101, 15-minute chart. We moved down yesterday and noticed the participation market breadth increase. That's a bearish sign for me. All right, I'm not liking that because I'm a bull. T2122, you can see we fell out of the buyer's zone yesterday, and we spent the whole day on, on Friday. We spent the whole day on Friday in the oversold zone. Another bearish clue right there. Okay, failing to make highs back up here, or hold the high ground in the buyers, in the bullish side. Okay, if we wanted to look who has control, remember April, we rallied up and made new higher highs almost every half a week, all right? So you can see April, you can see this yellow line spent the majority of its time up over the gold line, okay? So this gold line would represent bullish control above, bearish control below, okay? And look at how much time we spent above the gold line through the month of April. They came down and the bulls bought it up. They came down and the bulls brought it up. You can see how many times they spent very little time, maybe a half a day here, okay? Maybe a day and a half there, maybe 1 day there. Each time they got down here, the bulls bought it right back up, okay? It's not happening like that anymore, all right? So this trend may be over. At least it's kind of pointing that way. Another bearish clue, we're spending the whole day down here in the oversold zone. Haven't seen that in a long time, since probably March. You can see right here. March probably be the last time we were spent the whole day down in the oversold zone. So that's T2122. Let's take a look at T2123. Bearish gap down, not filled by the bulls. Okay, another bearish clue right there. We're underneath the rising 200 SMA. Okay, that's not where you want to be if you're a bull. All right, you want to be above it. So bearish gap down. So they gapped down and they even traded down, and they held a lower area all down here. So 15-minute is, we'll put the quad lines on there just for a second. I want you to see all of this. Okay, so that was the prior all-time high. This was the most recent all-time high. Okay, this is the newest. This was the prior. This is the recent. Still up here in quadrant 4. Okay, so that's bullish, but we got to recognize we haven't made any higher highs in a few days since the 11th of May. Okay, so we're in a downtrend. See the low? We keep making lower lows. So bullish, but in a downtrend, T2123. On the 15-minute chart. Now we look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, we haven't made any lower lows on the bigger time frame, but we are melting down. We're up over the rising 200 SMA. All right, that's where you want to be if you're a bull. Okay, we're at the top. We're in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. So on the bigger time frame here, we're still bullish and in an uptrend because we haven't made any lower lows. They would have to come all the way down here to find some candles to make a lower low. There's the first lower low way back here. Okay, so there's T2123. That's the 3-bar chart. Let's take a look at FNGU. Bearish gap down. Never filled the gap. The bulls never filled the gap. We did maintain staying above the 200 SMA. That's bullish for me. That's very bullish. All right, but did we make any higher highs? Well, obviously not, because there's the high and there's the high below it. So that's not good. Did we make lower lows? Well, here's the first low below the 17. We didn't make any lower lows. So we're still bullish, because I'll put the quad lines on here so you can see it. Okay, so we're still bullish because we're up in quadrant 4 and we're up over the rising 200. Okay, and in an uptrend, because we left off, we were in an uptrend, and the bears have yet to make a lower low yet. Okay, so without the lower low, bulls are still in control here. So we'll see what happens. All right, doesn't mean they have total control, but it's still bullish and in an uptrend right now. Okay, so there's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at U.S. dollar index. Okay, so this is the dollar index. Okay, this is the 20, I want to point everything out. This is the 2025 high on the daily chart. All of this is consolidation right through here. Those valley lows represent major support when you're above it. The valley peaks right up here, okay, represent minor support. Okay, notice we went through minor support, all right, and we broke through major support. See, that's about 2 years of consolidation right there. So we broke major support, and now we are bear flagging underneath major support. So there's a 6-month downtrend where we make lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, and then we finish off into a 10-month bear flag. All right, that simply is stuck underneath what once was major support, now is minor resistance, and you can see prices stuck underneath it. And you can see they've tried 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to break in to that consolidation zone with no luck at all. Okay, we were in a downtrend until Friday showed up, and then on Friday, you can see we made a higher low and a higher high, and there's a high over the 17 right there, and we just made a higher high, so we negated the downtrend, and we converted it into an uptrend. So right now the dollar is in an uptrend inside this big 10-month bear flag. Notice the flag, 10-month, the flagpole, 6-month. Flag longer than the flagpole here. So got a 10-month bear flag, and we're now in a daily uptrend with inside it. Okay, so there's the U.S. dollar index. All right, let's take a look at a few economic numbers and let's see if we can hit some stuff to get prepared for today. And on the economic numbers, let's take a look at what we got. All right, earnings reports. Okay, they gave me the right day. All right, all of these All of these are familiar names. This is what I'm going to report today and tonight. Today and tonight. Familiar names, but not market movers. Not going to move the SPY. Okay, they'll probably help out their sectors, but they're not going to move the SPY. They don't have enough power to move the SPY. Not enough market cap to move the SPY. Tuesday, big name here, 296. Now that's got enough power to move the Diamond Dow, and I believe that's in the Diamond Dow. Okay, not going to move the SPY or the QQQ, but it definitely got enough power to move the Diamond Dow, because Diamond Dow only has 30 stocks, and this is one of the bigger ones inside it. So that's a market mover for the Diamond Dow, but not for the SPY and the QQQ. That's almost $300 billion right there on Home Depot. That reports tomorrow morning. Okay, everybody else, just familiar names, not really going to be market movers for the SPY or the QQQ. Okay, NVIDIA. Okay, NVIDIA is $5 trillion. Okay, you know what 5 trillion is. You know what the national debt is. Okay, you know that that's a big number. All right, that will be the market mover. This right here, this is the tip of the spear when it comes to the AI rally. Okay, and there's no doubt about it. Right now, the market is in an AI rally. Okay, we are rallying over. It's the semiconductors and all the hardware and the software that goes into making AI perform. Okay, as well as the energy infrastructure that's going to be needed to make the AI, because it uses a lot of energy juice. Okay, as well as all of that that's also included in the market rally. Okay, so we are in an AI rally right now. Okay, so NVIDIA is the tip of the spear when it comes to this AI rally. Okay, they're probably going to put up some good numbers. Everybody else with hardware has been putting up good numbers. And I'm talking about Intel and AMD. NVIDIA has always beat their butt. All right, and I don't see any change or surprise coming. But they could surprise us. All right, but this is the tip of the spear. This is the AI rally. This is where super micro computers gets their goods to build whatever AI infrastructure or hardware that is needed. They almost all go shopping at NVIDIA or AMD. Okay, so there it is right there. They're looking for semiconductors and graphics chips. All right, and these guys make them. All right, so CPUs, all of this stuff. NVIDIA makes those graphics chips that make everything run. So this will be Bitcoin. Okay, you need graphics chips to mine Bitcoin. Okay, so and NVIDIA makes them. All right, so you can see this is a big boy. This is going to move the markets on Wednesday in the evening. All right, be prepared. Okay, this is like CPI being reported as 9.9. Okay, that's or 1.1. Okay, market could go in either direction. All right, this will definitely move the markets. NVIDIA. Thursday, Walmart's going to report $1 trillion. Okay, this is not the tip of the spear. Even though it's a big market cap, all right, it's not going to have the power or the residual energy move that NVIDIA is going to have from the day before. Okay, Walmart's going to report in the morning. Probably not going to make a difference. Wherever the market's going based on NVIDIA is probably where the market will continue to head. All right, regardless of whatever Walmart reports. Okay, they could report numbers like Amazon. I don't think it's going to make a difference. All right, I think whatever NVIDIA reports the night before, that's where the market's going come Thursday. All right, so again, familiar names. Could be market movers. All right, not likely following NVIDIA's report. Friday, Okay, BJ's Wholesale. Again, some familiar names here, not really market movers. Okay, not going to really affect the SPY or the QQQ that much. Okay, just stating what I've seen in the past, and I want you to be prepared for this one. This is a market mover. You want to be hedged. If they come out bad numbers, the market's going to fall like a rock. If they come out with good numbers, you may see the market up there around SPY 800. Okay, we'll see what happens. All right. When it comes to economic numbers, let's see what we got here. All right, this morning we got housing market index at 10 o'clock, and then that's it. Tuesday we've got housing starts and permits at 8:30, pending home sales at 10, and then that's it. On Wednesday we've got MBA mortgage applications at 7. I think that happens every morning, every Wednesday at 7. EIA petroleum report status 10 o'clock. And FOMC minutes at 2, okay? Not likely to see any market movement or any changes based on that. Jobless claims at 8:30 on Thursday. Philly Fed manufacturing, 8:30. PMI composite flash, 9:45. Natural gas report. We want to make sure we got a new Fed chairman. I think it's Christopher Waller. I don't know if he's going to come on and introduce himself. But I think we got a new Fed chairman that's going to be speaking 2 p.m. on Wednesday for the minutes, or they're just going to show the recordings. Consumer sentiment at 10. Early close. Looks like an early close there. And then Monday, we're off for Memorial Day. Kevin Warsh. Yeah, sorry. Yes, thank you, Robert. Appreciate that. Yes. Thank you for correcting me. I don't know why I said Christopher Waller. I think I've seen that name over here so many times. I thought he was the one being promoted. Yes, it's Kevin Warsh. So we'll see what happens. We're going to have a new Fed chairman. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning, okay? Because I see some things moving up. All right, so we've got a 10-minute uptrend right now. And you can see we're up over the gap fill. We're right into this. This should probably, this is the pivot. My pivot here is 740.90. Okay, if you look back here on my, on my pivot, 740.90. Okay, it's kind of an exhaustion move into that. If they get on top of here and hold, all right, I like to trade a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. All right, let's go see where the call wall is in the pre-market. Okay, they're approaching the call wall, which happens to be 742. All right, so we got up to, if you read my morning plan, all right, which is right here. Plan to trade an uptrend over 739.30 to Friday's VWAP 740.60. Okay, you can see there's Friday's VWAP. There's the uptrend over 739. Okay, so we already hit the first one. Next one is the call wall, all right, which happens to be 742 plus or minus 50 cents. Okay, so the pre-market call wall right there, 742, all right, plus or minus 50 cents. Now, when they get there, it'll probably bounce away, all right, because we're in a negative gamma regime. But we'll see what happens, all right? This gamma regime could change once we open up, all right? So probably gets up there and then wait for 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute downtrend to manifest, and then trade it back to the downside, back to the absolute GEX, which happens to be still at 735. Okay, so if I get a 10-minute downtrend that develops from hitting the call wall, all right, I'll be looking to trade it all the way back to the put wall or the absolute GEX, which happens to be the strike with the biggest amount, the largest amount of gamma exposure on it. I'll be looking to trade it back to that strike right there. Okay, that's my plan for this morning. So we're coming up here. We'll see if we can get, we have a 10-minute uptrend. We'll see if we can get up to the 742 plus or minus 50 cents, remember. Okay, call wall. We're very close right now. 741.50. All right, like I said, 742 plus or minus 50 cents. That's where the call wall is. Okay, and you can see in the pre-market, okay, 742 plus or minus 50 cents. We're very close right now. This should say 741 because price is way up here at 741 right now. Okay, so look for that to roll over and start heading back down towards the absolute GEX, which happens to be 735 or 735. All right. Okay, everybody understand that? Any questions? Don't be afraid if you don't understand it to speak up so I can help you. You got it? Thanks, CP. If you don't, just ask questions when the market opens up. I will help you out. All right? We're expecting it to reverse at 742, 741.50, 742.50. Okay, we're expecting it. So you go to a 3-minute or a 2 or a 5-minute. So you look for the reversal. You're looking for engulfing candles with follow through. All right, on like a 3-minute or a 5-minute chart. We'll be looking for engulfing candles, signs of a reversal imminent up there. All right, traders, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in 35-40 minutes. We'll open up the markets and trade them live.